Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we wrap up today's show. And who better to talk to on today's final segment than something that I think we're all are glad to hear about, hooked fishing tournament. That kind of hooked me when I saw it and first came out, and I said, well, we need to talk about this on the air. So we're really happy. Not only we got Ron and Frank, and I was going to let Frank do the introduction. I blew it, Frank. I did blow it, okay?
Larry, you did just fine.
Okay.
Just keep on with it.
Okay.
I think you got it down.
I think I got it down, Frank. I've done it a while anyway, but sorry, Frank. Anyway, hey, we got Tony Mehrl and Mark Copley both on the line at the same time. Now, they don't have time to talk to each other because they got to get out of here real quickly. But we're glad to have both of them on. They're with Lew's Holding Company, which I still have trouble saying. But we want to talk to Tony and Mark about the 12-week high school fishing digital tournaments from Lew's and Strike King. And Copley's already passed the buck to you, Tony. He said you know more about it. I don't think Mark knows everything. At least that's what he told me. But
he's a smart guy. That's not what my wife said.
Oh, and I didn't bring your wife in this at all. But, hey, guys, good morning, Tony. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How you doing, Larry?
Hey, we're doing great. So, Tony, talk about this thing, and Mark will bring it in because I know we've already kicked it off. April 6th goes through June 26th. We've already had 2 weeks of it, of a 12-week program. So talk about it, Tony. It's a great idea. I hope a lot of our young listeners out there hook up on this, but that's no pun intended. But talk about it, Tony.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny the way it all worked out. This is an idea that we had over the winter, and it just happened to be that we launched it in early April when a lot of schools were closing and athletics were starting to be canceled. So this is really an opportunity for high school teams to compete against each other, and there's no gathering for a weigh-in or anything like that. It's a digital tournament that we're running each week through a phone app called the Hooked Fishing app.
Amazing.
And these teams can every catch they have throughout the week, whether it's on a boat, from the bank, public or private waters, they just get in there and they log their catches. It's in inches. It's
in
catch,
inches.
photo, release.
Yes.
And each week there's a big bass prize for the team that catches the biggest bass for the region, and then at the end of the whole thing, the 12-week program, we do a grand prize for the most cumulative inches submitted. We've got it broken out into north, south, and west regions, so folks are competing against the other teams in their neck of the woods.
So south
it's been really cool to give these kids an opportunity to get out and compete against each other.
So south is Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee are all involved in that segment, and I know you guys have come up with it, and so talk about they get the app, they download the app. That's Hooked Fishing Tournaments. That's what it's called, and you got your measuring board, and Ron knows all about measuring boards, the bump board style, which I think I've got one of those Gator Grip myself, and I've also got one of Fraybill's. That's the two I've got, but there's four of them out there. Got to be 14 inches, and so but you can form your own team. Is that right, Mark? Is that right? The way it works?
Tony, I answered that because I believe it's off of, I guess the high school can form its own team.
Yeah, I mean, the high school forms its own team. Yeah.
I mean, if a high school doesn't already have a fishing team, they can certainly form one and participate in this, but it does have to be an organized high school team. Unfortunately, we don't have it quite set up just for middle schoolers and everybody.
But it's high school. It's high school.
Yeah, just high school.
I noticed in round one, listen to this, Wong. Round one saw a total of 13,281 inches, 842 bass caught.
That's pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Larry, here's the interesting thing about all of this is that they have results and updates on social media, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where people can really keep up with it. So it's drawn a lot of big interest about, kids especially that could be interested in the future in this.
Well, what about this now? So, Tony, were you all pleased with that first week when you saw how much participation was? Was that above what you thought, or was it? To me, it blows my mind. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really had no idea what to expect.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I can log in and see from my end, all the catches that are being submitted, and I can go through and judge, and I can disqualify if it's not a legal catch and whatnot. But I was amazed at how many catches were being put in there. I was like, wow, these kids are getting out there and they're going fishing.
And I know with the transition, Mark Copley, you're still here, but you'll be in South Carolina eventually. So
that is correct.
What's your thought on this?
Oh, I love it. The one thing that seems to be a constant out there and having to practice the social distancing and to keep everybody safe, what better way to do it than to get out on the water, to get outside?
Yeah.
It's a great way to keep kids engaged. They've lost so many opportunities in other sports. This is a sport that they can continue going out and fishing, and I just think it's an incredible idea. And the sheer number of the people that are participating and the fish that are caught is pretty incredible. And
Tony, I know that it goes through Sunday the 28th, so you can still put together your high school team. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. You can get in on this midway through, and you can win prizes each week for the big bag.
Huh? And I bet Lew's and Striking wouldn't be giving away any of their prizes, would they?
I tell you what, if you win something, I promise you'll get something from us.
I think you would.
They're going to have some fine prizes.
All right, so guys, tell them where they can go to find out information about this, Tony.
Yeah, just go to Lew's.com, and we've got a link on there for the digital tournament, and all the information is right there on the website.
Yeah, I went to it. If I can understand it, y'all can. So, hey, thank you, guys. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate y'all.
All right. We'll stay in touch, okay?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you. All right. Let those guys get out of here because they got a conference call this morning. Let me tell you about next week's show before we close it out with my two main men here. Dave Gabbard. It will be first Saturday. Dave Gabbard, Gene Smith. Yes, we do have our pun master, Gene Smith. And he'll be giving some puns out next week. And we do have the 10-second rule. So if we don't like him, we can punch him out. But anyway, so he'll be here. We're going to talk to Ron knows this guy, and he uses the product. They've really been hammered face mask-wise, and that's our good friends at Buff. And so Casey Rolick is going to be on, Ron, next week.
Oh, cool.
And he has sent me and you some masks coming. So I wanted to let you know about that. That's Buff sun protection clothing, but you can use these things during our trials and tribulations right now. And I'm going to talk to my man, Hoot. That's right. I had a hoot of a time with Hoot Hazelgrove, turkey hunting early this week. This man has 20 years as a Marine. 20 years as a Marine. I didn't know if I should shoot a bird or salute him. But it was he has had a military career at Parris Island and things. So he's going to talk about his background and about turkey hunting. And then, Ron, our good friend Brandon Butler of Driftwood Outdoors has put together a wonderful podcast that we're going to talk about. That's all on next week's show. It'll be worth it just to hear Ricky Hoot Hazelgrove, and he's from the great metropolis of Toone, Tennessee. And I spent 4 hours with Hoot the other day. Had a great time. Hope to turkey hunt with him again next week if at all possible. But, Ron, what you got going? Catching big bass?
I'm just going to go fishing and, just be patient and try to watch myself that I don't do anything I shouldn't do.
That's right, Ron.
And I also want to say, over the last several weeks here, I've read several different instances of people drowning.
Yes, yeah.
Wear those life jackets, please. Most recently we had a fellow from Illinois fishing by himself on Reelfoot Lake in an aluminum boat, probably not knowing it very well, and hit a stump and
didn't have his life jacket
lost his life and did not have his life jacket on. And as I always say, practice good water safety and make sure you wear that PFD. So important. Even now, when I go out, especially when I'm by myself,
yeah,
I have my inflatable life jacket on the whole time I'm on the water.
Well, it's just, you can think it's a 75-degree day, and it's not going to be, the water temperature is not going to be that, as Ron has always told me that. But I got to say one thing before we close out, that, man, we lost a great one this past week, and the great Coach Tom Nix, one of my favorite people at Christian Brothers High School. And before that, I didn't know him when he was at Whitehaven, but he and his wife, Anita, were really mentors to me in my early career as a prep writer to Commercial Appeal. I was there in 1977 when Christian Brothers beat Chattanooga Baylor for the state championship, and they beat them on the last play of the game. And I know because the guy next to me for the Chattanooga Times has already written his story about Chattanooga Baylor winning, and I can still see him grabbing it and throwing it up in the air. I thought he was going to throw his typewriter, that tells you how long ago it was, out the Liberty Bowl's the window. But anyway, the great Tom Nix. But, Frank, thank you, buddy. 8 o'clock this morning, right?
You bet.
Okay.
Come by and see me.
Okay. Ron Wong, take it easy, buddy, all right?
I will, and you too, Larry, and you too, Frank.
And you too, Shelby McCall. And as we always say.
Yes, and Shelby.
All right, as we always say, it doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else? God bless the USA.